Hi, hello, and welcome again to the FinCrime Connection, brought to you by Jade ThirdEye.
And a warm hello from me too. I'm Phil Roberts, recently joined the Jade ThirdEye team here in the UK. Delighted to be part of the team, and even more delighted to be joining the conversation today on some of the biggest FinCrime developments.
And we're thrilled to have you on board, Phil. And for those who don't know me, I'm Claire Rees. I'm Jade's Global Financial Crime Regulatory Specialist.
Cool. Thanks, Claire. Well, let's jump in, shall we? So I've been diving into headlines over the last few weeks, and there's been no shortage of action, it's fair to say, in the FinCrime space. We could have chosen a plethora of topics to cover today, but what stood out most for you?
So I've chosen a couple of really interesting updates from the NCA's latest SaaS in Action publication. Firstly, the NCA is celebrating 10 years of public-private partnerships. The Joint Money Laundering Task Force, or JMLIT, started back in 2015 with the aim of intel sharing between law enforcement and the financial sector. Since then, their successes have included around 12,000 operations, 419 arrests, and more than 100 alerts published to industry partners. In that 10-year period, the group has grown from 12 partners to the current public-private partnership model with over 200 organisations taking part. So it's really taken off. And it's also inspired more than 20 similar models around the globe. So a really fantastic success story there.
Yeah, awesome. Really blazing a trail. It's great to see the progress that's been made. There was also a speech from Jessica Rusu, the FCA's Chief Data Information Intelligence Officer. What key insights did you glean from her remarks?
I think it was really encouraging to hear how harnessing innovation, and in particular AI, is at the heart of the FCA's 5-year strategy. They're launching their new supercharged sandbox in October, and their AI live testing programme is helping firms to progress from a proof of concept stage through to testing AI innovations, all with supervisory oversight. For me, I'm really excited to see that the FCA are opening the doors for firms to work with them and alongside them in developing innovative solutions, and especially, of course, to see that tech being used to tackle financial crime. I don't believe that AI will ever replace the need for experienced investigators, for judgment and regulatory oversight, but there's no doubt it is already changing our approach to how we tackle financial crime. And the question now for me isn't whether to adopt AI, it's about how to adopt it responsibly.
Yeah, it's a great point, isn't it? What's always seemed obvious to me is that in the same way that we in the industry we're involved in is actively exploring AI use cases to fight financial crime, it therefore stands to reason that criminals and nefarious actors will also be seeking to exploit AI for their own criminal purpose. And to your point, we have to adopt AI responsibly, of course, to ensure that we're well positioned to fight the next wave of FinCrime, which will inevitably involve AI in some way, shape.
Yeah, quite right.
Perfect. And to finish, we'd be remiss not to mention another major enforcement from the FCA that's been all over the news and all over LinkedIn this week. Monzo in the spotlight. Claire, what stood out to you in the findings?
Yeah, so Monzo are the latest challenger bank to be held to account for their AML FinCrime shortcomings. The thing that really struck me reading this is it felt almost exactly like reading the Sterling fine from last year. Striking similarities. Both challenger banks have experienced exponential growth, and the scale and speed of the growth has significantly outpaced that of their controls. Both had inadequate screening and verification capability. In the latest case, in the Monzo case, they failed to properly verify customer addresses, resulting in accounts being registered at obviously implausible addresses, such as 10 Downing Street and Buckingham Palace. Both Monzo and Starling also had VREP restrictions in place to stop them from opening accounts for high-risk customers, and yet continued to do so while those restrictions were in place. And in both cases, the failings have culminated in the banks breaching the FCA's Principle 3, which requires firms to take reasonable steps to ensure it's organised its affairs responsibly and effectively with adequate risk management systems.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. These cases really drive home a core message, don't they? if your controls don't scale with your business, you're effectively building risk into your business. So, in other words, sort of growth without governance is a really dangerous combination.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's certainly the highlights and lowlights for me this month. So I think we'll wrap up. You'll be able to find links to everything that we've talked about in the blog that accompanies this episode. As always, if you've got any questions, thoughts, or feedback, we'd really love to hear from you. And thank you so much for listening. Please like and share. And Phil and I will be back soon with the next episode of the FinCrime Connection.